Have you ever noticed that there is a pain within you that bears the face of your mum, even when you try to forget? A wound that does not bleed on the outside, but tightens your chest every time you remember something she said, something she did, or worse, something she failed to do. It is not resentment. It is not a lack of forgiveness. It is not a weakness on your part. It is a sign. And what is happening right now in the astral plane explains exactly why this wound exists, and why it has been aching even more lately, as if it were begging to finally be seen. There is a game being played in layers that most people cannot perceive, and the relationship between you and your mum is one of the deepest layers of this game, because it was through her that your soul entered this world. It was through her womb that you crossed the portal between the invisible and the visible, and it is precisely for this reason that the adversary works with such insistence to poison this very link, the first bond you had, the first love you knew, the first voice that called you by name. Think with me for a moment. What if all this pain you carry regarding your mom were not simply trauma, as the world likes to label it? What if it were proof that there is a battle being fought over your lineage, your blood, your history? Because whoever chooses to wound the mother is trying to cut the root. And when the root is attacked, the entire tree feels it. You are that tree. And the healing you seek so much is not in forgetting the past. It is in understanding what really happened in the unseen realm of that relationship. The truth that almost no one has the courage to tell you is this: many of the wounds we carry with our mums were not born in them. They were inherited, passed down from generation to generation like a chain no one realized they were carrying. Grandma's pain became your mum's silence. Your mum's silence became the distance you feel today. And if no one breaks this chain consciously, it continues to descend, to your children, to their children. You are not just dealing with your mum. You are dealing with everything that came before her, and that she never had the means to resolve. There is a phrase that needs to sink deep into your heart right now. Your mom loved you the best way she could, with the tools she had. And that does not mean the pain you felt was not real. Both things are true at the same time. She may have failed, and yet still have been an instrument in your journey, because the chosen one rarely comes from perfect cradles. The chosen one is usually born in the midst of chaos, precisely because their mission is to transform that chaos into light. If your childhood was difficult, if your relationship with your mom is complicated, perhaps it is not a punishment. Perhaps it is the training ground for someone who came to break cycles. And here is the deepest layer, the one the adversary does not want you to see. As long as you remain trapped in pain, you remain paralyzed. Resentment toward the mother is one of the most powerful spiritual shackles that exists, because it drains your energy, blocks your blessings, and keeps you looking back when you were called to walk forward. How many prayers have you offered that seem to hit the ceiling? How many doors have closed without explanation? Perhaps the key is not up ahead. Perhaps it is behind you, in the spiritual reconciliation with the woman who brought you into the world, whether she is alive or has already departed. That is why I wrote this digital book, The Divine Guide to Family Protection. This book is not just reading material. It was born exactly for people like you, who carry wounds of lineage and feel deep in their soul that they need to heal something that comes from long before. It is a map that shows who is playing against your family, what the rules are that no one ever told you about the spiritual inheritances passed from mother to child, and what I am chosen, and I will break the generational curse. It has already been revealed how these invisible chains are formed, and most importantly, how they are broken. This book was created for those who have awakened enough to understand that the relationship with their mom was never just emotional. It was always spiritual, territorial, and ancestral. And for those ready to go beyond the shallow answers the world offers, the ones that tell you to just move on without ever healing the root. The link is in the first comment, pinned at the top. But I must warn you, this type of content is rarely available for long. What is on these pages challenges narratives that many have an interest in keeping intact, because a healed family, with their ancestral chains broken, is a family that the adversary can no longer manipulate. And there have been attempts to silence this knowledge before. Do not wait for the right moment. The right moment is now, the chosen one, because you did not reach this video by accident. Download it now and comment, I am chosen and I will break the generational curse. This comment is an act of faith. It is you declaring to the spirit world that the chain stops with you. Now that you have made this decision, let me tell you the next truth. And this one goes straight to the most sensitive point of this story. Because there is a spiritual reason why the pain involving one's mom is so different from any other pain. When a soul is conceived, an energetic connection forms between mother and child that goes far beyond the physical umbilical cord. There is an invisible cord, a silver cord that links the two of you in the astral plane. This cord is beautiful when healthy. It is through it that blessings, protection, and intuition flow. That mother's intuition that senses when the child is in danger even miles away. But this same cord, when wounded, when poisoned by unresolved resentment, becomes a channel of pain. And that is why no one can hurt you the way your mom can. It is not because she is the worst person in the world. It is because she is connected to you at the deepest level that exists. Understanding this changes everything. Because most people spend their entire lives trying to heal this wound at the wrong level. They go to therapy, and therapy helps, but it treats the symptom. They try to talk, and sometimes conversation is impossible. They try to forget, and forgetting never comes, because that is not just in the memory, it is engraved in the spirit. True healing happens when you ascend a level and treat the spiritual root of that bond. When you understand that you need to make peace not just with the woman who is your mom today, but with the energy of that entire relationship. And here is something you may have never heard. You can heal this relationship even if your mom never changes, even if she never apologizes, even if she has already departed from this world. Because the healing does not depend on her. It depends on you, cutting the poison that runs through that silver cord and replacing it with forgiveness. Not for what she deserves, but for the freedom you deserve. Forgiveness is not saying that what happened was right. Forgiveness is you refusing to continue carrying a weight that is preventing you from flying. Many people confuse forgiving with forgetting, or with pretending the pain did not exist. That is not it. Forgiving spiritually is like returning a debt that is not yours to carry. As long as you hold on to the resentment, it is you who pays the interest, in sleepless nights, in sabotaged relationships, in an internal voice that repeats the same criticisms you heard as a child. Have you noticed how sometimes you speak to yourself with the same harshness that your mom spoke to you? That is the chain in operation. It is her voice that became your inner voice. And breaking this is one of the most liberating spiritual acts that the Chosen One can perform. There is a pattern that repeats itself in the lives of almost all of the Chosen Ones, and perhaps you recognize yourself in it. From an early age, you felt that you carried a heavier weight than other children. You matured before your time. Many times you had to be strong for your own mom, reversing the roles, taking care of the one who should have been taking care of you. And this left a double mark. On one hand, it made you resilient, someone capable of enduring what would break others. On the other hand, it left a longing, a void from a lap you never had enough of. The Chosen One, this void is not a flaw in your design. It is the exact space where God wants to dwell. It is the crack through which the light enters. Because look at the divine irony. The people who suffered the most with their mums are often the ones who become the greatest healers, the best parents, the most compassionate people in the world. Why? Because they know pain from the inside and vow never to pass it on. You who have suffered are perhaps destined to be the very one who interrupts the inheritance of pain, the point where the rusted chain finally breaks. And this, the Chosen One, is one of the noblest missions a soul can receive in this life. But to fulfill this mission, you need the right tools. You do not break an ancestral chain with willpower alone. You break it with knowledge, with an understanding of the spiritual laws that govern these connections. And that is exactly what I have gathered in the Divine Guide to Family Protection. Inside it, you will find the mapping of how lineage wounds settle in a family, how to identify which pains are yours and which you merely inherited, and the spiritual paths to cut what needs to be cut without cutting the love that needs to remain. It shows who is playing against the peace of your home and how to spiritually shield the bonds that truly matter. The link is still there at the top of the comments, pinned and waiting for you. And I repeat the warning because it is important. This knowledge is unsettling. A person who heals their relationship with their mom becomes free, and a free person can no longer be controlled by fear, by guilt, by the spiritual manipulation that keeps so many families trapped in cycles of pain for generations. That is why this type of material is constantly attacked, hidden, discouraged. If it reached you now, do not treat it as a coincidence. Download the digital book while it is available, and if you haven't commented yet, comment now. I am chosen and I will break the generational curse. Let it be recorded. Let the spirit world know which side you have decided to play on. And now that you have made this commitment, the moment has come to reveal to you the most delicate part of this journey, the one that separates those who only talk about healing from those who actually achieve it. There is a step that almost everyone skips, and because of that they remain stuck for years trying to heal something that never resolves. That step is honor. It seems contradictory, I know. How to honor someone who hurt you. But listen with an open heart. To honor is not to agree. To honor is not to say that everything was perfect. To honor is to recognize that through that person, however imperfect they may have been, your life arrived. It is to recognize that you exist, that you are here reading this, that you have a mission. And none of this would be possible without that portal that was your mom. There is an ancient spiritual law that says that when we honor our origin, even the wounded origin, something unlocks within us. It is as if the flow of life, which was dammed by resentment, begins to run again. Many of the chosen one live in a kind of drought, financial drought, drought in relationships, drought of purpose, without understanding that the dam is exactly there, in the unresolved relationship with their mom. The instant you can look back and say, I honor you for the life you gave me, and I choose to free myself from the pain I also received, the floodgates open, and what was locked begins to flow. This does not happen all at once, and it doesn't need to. Healing is a journey, not a light switch. Some days you will feel you have advanced a lot, other days the old pain will come knocking at the door again. This is normal. It does not mean that you failed. It means you are human and that wound was deep. Be patient with yourself in a way your mom perhaps wasn't able to be. Give yourself the compassion you sought so much in her, because here is one of the most beautiful truths of this whole journey. You can become for yourself the loving mom you needed. You can learn to welcome yourself, to speak to yourself with tenderness, to embrace yourself in moments of pain. And if your mom has already departed from this world, know this: the silver cord does not break with death. You can still make peace. You can talk to her in the silence of prayer, say everything that got stuck in your throat, forgive, and ask for forgiveness. Her soul can receive this wherever she may be. And many report that after making this spiritual reconciliation, they began to feel a peace they had never felt while she was alive. It is never too late to heal. Love traverses dimensions, and so does forgiveness. Perhaps hearing all of this, you are feeling your eyes welling up. If you are, don't hold it back. These tears are sacred. They are the rusted chain beginning to dissolve. They are years of pain finally finding a way out. Let them flow. Each tear that falls for this healing is one less stone you will carry for the rest of your walk. And on the other side of this weeping exists a lightness you may have forgotten was possible to feel. I want you to keep this image in mind. Imagine the chain of pain that has descended through your family, generation after generation, reaching you. And imagine that, in you, it finds no longer a link that merely receives and passes it on, but a gate. A gate that decides what passes through and what stops. And you, the chosen one, look at this chain and say, love continues to descend through me, but the pain stops here. The pain does not go from me any further. In that instant, you are not just healing yourself, you are healing your past and protecting your future. You are doing what perhaps none of your ancestors had the chance to do. That is why I need to reinforce one last time the invitation that can completely change this journey for you. The Divine Guide to Family Protection is waiting for you at the link pinned at the top of the comments. It was written exactly for this moment in your life, the moment you decide that the inherited pain stops with you. Inside it are the revelations on how the spiritual bonds between mom and child work, how to identify and break the ancestral chains that sabotage your peace, and how to spiritually shield your entire family so that the next generations receive blessing where before only wounds descended. It is not an ordinary book, and you already understand why. It is a map of spiritual warfare for those who were chosen to heal an entire lineage. Download it now while it is still available, because knowledge that liberates always runs the risk of being silenced. And if you made it to the end of this video, it is because something inside you already knows that this healing is the next step in your story. Comment with faith. I am chosen, and I will break the generational curse. Declare it, download it, and begin today the walk that will liberate not only you, but everyone who came before, and everyone who will come after. You will never fully heal until you understand this about your mom, and now finally you understand. The gate is you, and from today on, only love passes through.